Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for coming out today. If you don't know me, I'm Mayor Ron Oler, and we really appreciate your support here today. If you're able to, please stand for the presentation of the colors.
Detail, halt. Right, face. Prepare to post colors. Post. Recover. Present. Arms. Order. Arms. Center face, left face, forward, march.
Thank you. You may be seated. Good afternoon. My name is Blanton, and I'm the Assistant Chief of Police here at the Richmond Police Department. I would like to thank each and every one of you for being here today to show your support for the memorial of Seara Burton. I'd like to start off today's ceremonies with a few words of my own before turning it over to some of our speakers here today. I'm going to tell you a little bit about a story that I think is really applicable here for us today. In 2019, there was an author, his name's Charles Mackesy. He released a short book called The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse. The short story illustrates many life lessons through its pages. The story is about four unusual characters who find life lessons as they navigate through their way home. The greatest lesson of the book is that in suffering, we can become united and love others and ourselves because of it. There are two stories specifically that play a big impact to me today. The first is the boy and the mole find the fox in the woods as they're searching for their home. They find the fox in his snare. He's upset, he's angry, he's been hurt, he's been afraid. He even goes as far as to lash out to the help, which is the boy and the mole. The mole presses on and, against all odds, frees the fox. The boy then asks the mole, why? Why did you do that? The mole says, one of our greatest freedoms is how we react. The next story is a time when the boy and the horse are walking through the woods. It's dark, it's late, they cannot see, and the boy goes, I can't see. I don't know where to go. I don't know what to do. The horse looks down and asks him, can you see the next step? The boy replies, yes. He says, then take it. Today, we stand to honor the memory of our hero, Seara Burton, and the sacrifice that she made for this community. Like the fox, when faced with adversity, we could be scared, we could lash out, we could choose to see the world with a dimmer way, or even not at all. Or we can be brave like the mole and choose how we react, because after all, it is our greatest freedom. We can choose to love and laugh and celebrate life for the gift it is. After all, there is a reason they call it the present. The road to healing is anything but easy or clear. However, like the boy walking through the dark, just seeing the next step is enough. You may not see the end or the why, but simply taking one step at a time will get you through the other side. Today, we take one more step in the dark. Today, we choose how we react, and we react by living a life worth her sacrifice. We choose to bravely go forward and live a life of happiness and success so that Seara's life will continue to mean something even in her absence. May this memorial be a small step in cementing the legacy of Seara Burton. I'd now like to turn it over to Pastor Chip Belonga for the benediction.
Pastor Chip Belonga, I had the privilege to serve First English Lutheran Church, and at the time, 2 years ago, I had the privilege to serve and still do serve as the Wayne County Sheriff, volunteer chaplain, and since then, now newly installed as the volunteer chaplain as well for the Richmond Police Department. So let us pray today. Gracious and loving God, we gather here today with hearts both fully heavy and hopeful to honor the memory of Seara Burton, who served this community with courage, dedication, and an unwavering commitment to the justice and peace. We come together as a community and ask you to make this space sacred as we dedicate the bridge over Interstate 70 on Chester Boulevard in Seara's name, a lasting tribute to her life of service and sacrifice. We ask for your presence among us as we remember Seara, whose life was taken from us too soon, but whose legacy lives on in the lives she touched, the community she protected, and the love she shared with family and friends. May this bridge stand as a powerful symbol of our unity, where people from all walks of life cross paths, remind us that we are indeed stronger together, bound by the common good that Seara so courageously upheld. Bless this gathering, O Lord, and may the memory of Seara inspire us all to live with the same courage, integrity, and compassion that she demonstrated every day of her life. May this bridge serve as a constant reminder of the values we are committed to upholding and the brave men and women who put their lives on the line every day to keep our communities and the areas around us safe. It's in your holy name we ask you to come and be present at this moment. We pray these prayers. Amen.
Thank you, Chip. The next speaker that I'd like to introduce today is United States Senator Mike Braun.
Thank you for letting me be a part of this. Much appreciated. And the men and women of law enforcement risk their lives every minute of every day. They never know when a situation will turn from unremarkable to unimaginable. Yet every day they put on the uniform and put themselves on the line between chaos and the communities they serve. It's a line that Hoosiers do respect. I visit every county every year, and I can tell you that there isn't a county in this state where you won't see a thin blue line flag. Indiana supports and honors our men and women in blue. And from everything I've heard from her family, friends, and fellow officers, Seara Burton was the best that Indiana had to offer. She answered the call to serve her neighbors and did so honorably and selflessly. There's nothing we can do to thank Officer Burton enough. Generations of Hoosiers will pass by the sign bearing her name and know that Officer Burton lived a life worth commemorating. To those who knew Officer Burton, I hope this honor can provide them some small solace that Seara's memory will never be forgotten. And thanks again for letting me be a part of this.
Thank you, Senator Braun. Our next speaker will be Chief of Police Kyle Weatherly.
Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us today for this momentous event honoring Officer Seara Burton. On the fateful day of August 10th, 2022, Officer Seara Burton was tragically injured in the line of duty. Despite her critical injuries, Seara fought bravely for 39 days before finally succumbing to her wounds. The loss of Seara is nothing short of devastating, but in her time with us, she left a lasting mark on our community. Through the way she lived, Seara taught us all invaluable lessons. She showed us grace through her unwavering commitment to helping those who others might see as beyond redemption. Seara exemplified kindness and, above all, demonstrated the true meaning of service to others. Her resilience was evident not only in how she carried herself daily, but also how she fought nearly 40 days when many would have expected only 40 hours. Above all, Seara reminded us of the profound truth that there is no greater love than to lay down one's life for others. Today, we take a small but significant step in preserving her legacy by naming the US 27 bridge over Interstate 70 in her honor. This bridge will stand as a gentle reminder to all who pass of the hero who gave her life for our community. For those who traverse this busy intersection and may not know Seara's story, let this monument compel them to learn about her and be inspired to become better versions of themselves. In closing, I remind us all of our responsibility to live lives worthy of her sacrifice. Each of us holds a proverbial quill contributing to the story of life. May Seara's legacy inspire us to write boldly, live kindly, and above all, to live lives worthy of her ultimate sacrifice. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Our next speaker I'd like to introduce to you is United States Representative Greg Pence.
Thank you for having me here today. We know our law enforcement officers as neighbors, friends, and honorable public servants who even on the easiest of days perform a difficult and dangerous job. Behind the badge and uniform are the men and women who put their lives on the line every day on behalf of those they serve in their community. They stand for what is good and just and right. They understand the respect and dignity worth every citizen which they deliver every day. There's little we can do to repay the public servants who lay down their lives in the line of duty. The courage and dedication is unmatched, their loyalty unrivaled. K-9 Officer Seara Burton was no exception, as you all know. For 4 years, she gave everything to her community in Richmond, protecting its citizens with no regard for her own safety. The first K-9 officer in the department with her partner Brev, Officer Burton left an impact and paved a path for those who will come behind her. Today we gather to name this bridge in her honor, to cement her name, her actions, and her legacy in our history books. This is the least we can do, a small gesture to show our appreciation to her loved ones. But this is also a moment to reflect and do what we can to ensure that her sacrifice was not in vain. Now more than ever, our heroic first responders deserve more support, not less. As we honor Officer Burton, we recommit ourselves to defending the people that keep us safe. This bridge is a testament to that promise. I'm honored to be here to celebrate Officer Burton, and my gratitude and prayers are with her family, Mom Jennifer, Ma Amy, and her partner Seara. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. The next speaker I'd like to introduce to you today is Superintendent of the Indiana State Police, Doug Carter.
I kind of expected to be able to stand in the back today, so I have to bear with me for a minute because I'm going to wing this to a family that I think the world of, and a family here that I think the world of. You know, this is on the heels. Seara was murdered on the heels of Noah Chavez on July 31st, 2022. I'll never forget that morning, and I'll never forget the phone call that I had personally received about Seara in the city of Richmond. On the heels of what occurred at your middle school not long before that, this community had been dealt a significant blow. But with the death of Seara, you got hit right square in the face. I was so proud to be able to get over here and for the ISP to wrap our arms around you and be a partner in this period of time and do everything that we could do. I have so many fond memories of comments and of conversations and of sitting quietly and watching how you interacted with each other. Please understand how important that was. Please understand how important that was. We committed to Mike at the time that we would stay with him throughout the course of this period of time, and as an agency, we did, and I hope that we always will. I hope that we always will. To the families, in a 40-year career, I've had the unfortunate experiences of sitting with many family members at times of incredible sadness, specifically victims of crimes. And every single time, you leave a little bit in that room. Jennifer and Amy, you made comments that day that I'll carry with me the rest of my life. And I am so eternally grateful that you welcomed me and us into that moment in time that was so incredibly delicate for the three of you. And I'm very, very grateful. To our law enforcement profession, I encourage us and you to keep your heads held high. We've been through some very, very difficult periods over the course of these last 4 years, and Seara would expect us to act in no other way. We are a recovering group of people. We are recovering law enforcement agencies, and we will always remember the service and sacrifice, not to us, but to the citizens that we serve. That's what she would expect for us to do. In closing, specifically to Richmond PD, you experienced something that very few police agencies in Indiana ever will. And you're a very, very special group of people now, more so than even before. And I hope that rather than fuss with one another or worrying about Republicans or Democrats or whatever, all the things that we all worry about, that you just remember those days, those dark days where you took care of each other in ways that I never thought was possible. Again, the things that we saw you do were extraordinary. It was an extraordinary period of time, not just for you as police officers, but for the way this community surrounded you. And I, for one, am eternally indebted to each and every one of you into the Richmond community. So I say thank you very, very much for welcoming us and asking for me to be here today. Thank you.
Thank you, Superintendent Carter. I'd like to introduce next two individuals. One, Indiana Representative Dr. Brad Barrett and Indiana Senator Jeff Raatz. They'll be the next ones to speak to give you some of the proclamation of why we're here today.
Thank you, and thank you everyone for coming, but a special thanks for the gentleman here at the front of the room who made an effort to come from Washington or Indianapolis or wherever they're coming from today to share this moment with us, because it's really monumental. And I also want to recognize Chief Britt and Mayor Snow and Sheriff Redder, who's in the back of the room, who were a big part of this at the time and have blended into the crowd now. But their contribution to this, as it unfolded 2 years ago, was irreplaceable. So very, very briefly, this had to be the fastest road naming proclamation in the history of Indiana. We got buy-in from the city, from Mayor Snow, from the city council, from the county council. We were faxing documents to the State House for the very last Roads and Transportation meeting of the 2023 session. Chairman Pressel held the meeting till we got those documents. We then went through the process, and which the family came over and participated, and yet that was without much of the fanfare, without the signage, without the ceremony. What we do over there sometimes I think happens in a vacuum. What we do here has impact, and to see that sign in front of us today and to see it on that bridge, I've recently been driving a lot for a variety of reasons, and I notice these things now, and you Google the person, and my hope is that this sign brings some form of closure for family and establishes some legacy for the sacrifice of Officer Burton. And then Senator Raatz, who helped facilitate this process will read this proclamation.
Thank you, Dr. Barrett. Just echo one thing, we actually broke our own rules that had been set a couple of years earlier on making sure this thing got done in time, just because of the sheer number or volume of requests to do things along these lines. It's incredibly humbling to stand before you today and share this. It's while part of the job, probably the best part about it is honor. And I can follow along with the gentleman that spoke earlier on the gratefulness and the recognition of you all putting your lives on the line every day that we live. We don't think about much. But when it comes to this situation, it brings it home. And so, just a portion of this. And I also want to thank Representative Barrett, took the lead on this in the House, and we were able to work it out and get it done. Therefore, be it resolved by the House of Representatives of the General Assembly of the State of Indiana, the Senate concurring, that the Indiana General Assembly urges the Indiana Department of Transportation to rename the bridge on State Highway 27 over I-70 as the Officer Seara Burton Memorial Bridge in honor of her service. That the Principal Clerk of the House of Representatives shall transmit copies of the resolution to the Commissioner of the Indiana Department of Transportation with according signatures. No greater love have the person have for others and lay down their life.
Thank you, gentlemen. We have one speaker left. And before I call them to the stage, I'd like to say a few things about this individual. Earlier in my opening remarks, I talked about two stories. One, finding your way in the dark, taking one step forward at a time. The other story about choosing how we react. I chose those stories because I believe that it embodies the sentiment of what we do here today, but more so than ever, our last speaker encapsulates those words through and through. This individual, through the most severe adversity, through the worst times, chose to continue to fight, continue to be strong. This individual still goes to the Indiana Law Enforcement Academy today to teach the next generation of crime fighters how to remain safe through traffic stops, intermingling with people, whatever it may be. In addition to that, fighting every day to not ensure just that Seara's legacy remains, but that officers are better tomorrow than they were today due to having met her. This phenomenal human being that I'm going to present to you next has so much to offer to this world, and every day encapsulates the stories that I told you today. That individual is Sergeant Amy Miller.
Wasn't expecting that. Can't promise I won't keep it together, but I'm going to do my best. Okay, so good afternoon. I would like to thank each and every one of you for being here today. My name is Amy Miller. I'm a sergeant with the Richmond Police Department. I'm also the stepmother of Officer Seara Burton. Words cannot express what Seara meant and will always mean to me. It is my honor to be able to share this day with my family, my department, and all of you to help make sure she's not forgotten. For those of you who did not know Seara, she was a hero. She was a warrior. She was dedicated to serving this community, and she did it with pride and integrity. Seara loved this job and the people she served. Seara would go that extra mile to make sure whatever call she was on, whoever she was helping, was safe and knew she really cared. Seara's confidence soared when she reached her goal of becoming a K-9 handler. Seara was partnered with Brev, a handsome fur missile, who helped her take large amounts of drugs off the streets. The two were together for a short period of time, but it was obvious they were meant to be together. On a personal level, out of this uniform, Seara was kind, she was loving, a humble soul. She loved her family and friends and would go out of her way for any of us. Each time I speak about Seara, I mention her smile and her laugh. You knew she was close if you heard that laugh, a laugh that could change a mood in seconds, and a smile that could light up the darkest of areas. Seara's missed every second of every day. It has been 2 years since that awful day, and we still hurt, we still grieve, and we can continue to try to process her being gone. Our lives will never be the same. But today we celebrate Seara by dedicating this bridge in her name. Seara deserves this. Seara deserves to be remembered and honored in any way possible. She gave her life to protect the city. I promised her before she passed that I would never let her be forgotten, and I have adopted the hashtag until my last breath to promise just that. Until my last breath, I will do everything in my power to keep her memory alive. Until my last breath, I will continue to wear our uniform with the same pride and integrity as she did. And until my last breath, I will fight in hopes for this not to happen to any other family, department, and community in the future. So now this takes me to this. I want to conclude my comments with an impassioned plea to our legislatures to join families, friends, and communities who have lost officers to create meaningful changes in our legal system. Too often, violent offenders are back on the street due to lighter sentences for a multitude of crimes. It is of vital importance that families and stakeholders band together to reduce inadequate plea bargains and early release drastically. If we band together in this fight and make real change, we can hopefully prevent these types of tragedies from devastating other families and communities. Again, thank you all for being here today. Please remember K-9 Officer Seara Burton. Remember her sacrifice, her bravery, and her strength. And every time you cross over or under her bridge, may her spirit touch your heart. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for attending today. To our brothers and sisters in law enforcement, thank you. Continue to hold the line. To our brothers and sisters at the fire service, thank you for supporting us today. To the men on my left and the men on my right, I want to thank you. I also want to thank the Indiana Department of Transportation. Most importantly, though, I want to thank Jennifer for being here today. At this point, this will conclude our memorial session today. There are refreshments to the side if you would like to get those. Thank you.